And now we go back to cinemas. We go back to cinemas and we talk about Rye Lane, the film, the much sought after film that Sean and I were trying to find last week that I actually managed to go watch. So Rye Lane, it is what this is to give it all the headline things that people are usually talking about. This is a London-based black romantic comedy. That's what it is. So you kick off and I think Sean, you were talking about the fact that you'd seen some clips of this and you were like, "Well, I really want to see this because it looked intriguing." Because the way it's shot is a bit intriguing, and it's set in Peckham, so that's where the title comes from, Rye Lane. So Peckham Rye is the train station, Rye Lane is where the train station is, and Rye Lane is the main road that goes through Peckham. I know because I used to live that Sharon. Well,
My
I
cousins live in Peckham.
your cousins live in Peckham. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So your cousins they would like watching this film. Like, remember my cousin Taiwo? He lived in Peckham, and I used to stay with him. I used to go to stop off at Peckham Rye and go to their house, and so there were bits of this where I was watching this film, and I just kept recognizing places, and I was like, "Oh my god, I've been there! Oh my god, I know that shop! Oh, that's the African shop for that! Yeah, they're right at the train station." And so geographically, I was kind of like, "Oh yeah, this is quite cool," but the film, the storyline itself is a bit kind of okay. So you have these two people who meet, and when they meet, the guy who I can't remember his name. But he's come out of a relationship. He's just come out of a relationship. It's played by David Johnson, and he's Dom. Dom has just come out of a relationship, but he's still quite cut up about the relationship. He's crying. He's like the first time you see this guy in the film, he's crying in a toilet stall, and he's crying because he's been dumped by his girlfriend, and not only has been dumped by his girlfriend, but his girlfriend dumped him to go out with his best friend, and so then he meets this girl Yaz, and Yaz is to begin with. You know how it is when you see one of these romantic comedies where you meet somebody and oh my god, they're everything that you might need, and oh my god, and oh, my life is gonna be better now because they're the one. That's how it starts off, and that's how it, because like she comes out, she's like this ball of energy, and he's like an accountant, and he's a bit pent up, and she's like oh, joy of life and all that kind of stuff. So it starts off with very much and people have used this term manic pixie dream girl thing, where the girl comes in and the girl is gonna make everything right, and it's all about the guy, and the film's all about the guy and his problems and the girl who's going to make all his problems fine. And it starts off a bit like that, but thankfully it changes as it goes along, and you begin to find out a little bit more about Yaz herself and about her and why she does certain things, because this becomes like one of those films where they meet and it just sort of organically turns into this thing where they end up start spending the day together and walking from place to place, and they go to Brixton, and then they go to a restaurant, and then they go to, and all that kind of, it just sort of turns into one of those films that just sort of carries on like that. And it will, for those of you of a certain age, like I now consider myself to be of a certain age, it will make you hanker for those days when you were young and you didn't have anything to do with your day, and you could just go, "Yeah, I'll go over there. Yeah. What's going on next? We're going there. Okay, cool. Let's go. I don't have any plans." It'll make you hanker for those, because that's what happens for a lot of the runtime of the film. So I don't think it's much of a spoiler to say that it follows the way a rom-com comes. Is about these two people, Yas played by Vivian Opara and Dom played by David Johnson, and they spend the day hanging out, finding out more about each other. Like, are there sparks there? Of course, there's sparks there. and what happens is there going to be like an obstacle for them to overcome. Of course, there's going to be an obstacle for them to overcome. But what this does is the way it's shot and the characterizations, I think, are spot on. I found myself laughing over and over again in all sorts of different places in this film. There were things that happened. There's some things that I'm not sure whether it's kind of like a black thing, where the jokes are kind of like behind this sort of black veil, so to say, like you get them if you've been experienced of black culture or anything like that. I don't know. I'll be interested to see what you guys do. I personally thought that sometimes that there were some bits where the London accents were a bit quick, and I was like, okay, either they spoke really quickly there or they used some slang that I am way too old to understand. But I'm just going to try and get what's going on by the context of what's going on right now without actually necessarily hearing the words. But I thought it was great. I thought it was a brilliant film. I thought it was a delightful film. Yes?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, with the clips I saw it was like a bit of an extended one when they're walking through I don't know, a shopping mall or a market.
Yeah,
market,
like a covered market,
and,
yeah.
I just thought it just really grabbed me. I just thought, oh, I'd like this looks really cool. You know, the way it's sort of done and stuff, where they pause and they turn around and face each other and then go walking in places. And I thought, yeah, well, I mean, we spoke about this last week, and I mean, it's one that's on my radar. Definitely, I would like to see.
Well, no, I think that there's a lot of things that the film though, because obviously I was the only one in the cinema, so I could actually make notes while I was watching the film. I think, yeah, so I think that they're meet cute because obviously all these romantic comedies they always have a meet cute at the beginning. I think that the meet cute is hilarious. I think the way that they did it, it sort of undercuts the whole idea of a meet cute, where they meet, how they meet, what goes on, and everything like. It undercuts it, and I thought it was very Peckham. There's an there is there's a cameo in this film. There's a cameo in this film by a very big British actor. A very big British actor shows up in this film for probably all of 15 seconds. And you're just kind of like, are you watching it going, that, yeah, that, how the hell did they get that person in this film? And you're watching it going, how the hell did they get this person to Peckham? How did this go on? And you just think somebody who makes this film has to be connected. But that cameo I thought was hilarious. When even the person and the role that they're playing, it's just kind of like off the scale. But the one of the things that they do quite well is that the first appearances of characters, almost every character, even small supporting ones, are memorable. And they have something like the first appearance of Yaz's ex in the film, hilarious. The Dom's best friend, who is now going out with his girlfriend, that guy steals every scene he's in. He is not. He is a tiny bit of the film, but he steals every scene he's in, and he just the looks on his face and the way the character is and everything like that. I thought it was great. I like this a lot. I think it's one of those tiny, small films. It's about 80 something minutes. We're talking about John Wick Chapter 4. That's nearly 3 hours long. I'm like, no, 80 something minutes. And it is small, it is perfectly formed, and it just leaves you with this sort of like buzz, like this little glow after you finish watching the film. I liked it. It will make you think. It will make you wish for your youth again. I would give it a 4 out of 5. So 4 stars for Rye Lane.
Cool.
Yeah. So Sean, if you can find it, yeah, go.
I
See
will
it.
definitely. Yeah. I should imagine. I mean, if it does go for, well, it's probably it's gone from the cinemas, I expect. But I shouldn't think it'd be too long before it pops up on a.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to see it at home somewhere, or maybe
Yeah.
there'll be some showing in Bournemouth because Bournemouth tries to be all trendy and student filled. So
It does. Yeah. That might.
so,
Yeah, we might get that. Yeah.
so we might get that in Bournemouth.